Greetings, everyone. Avery here. I wanted to go over some information about the infamous passport and dealing with everyone's nationality status or their political status. It is going around the internet all over social media where people are showing their passports saying, for example, this one here, it says the bearer is a United States national and not a U.S. citizen. And not a United States citizen, thinking that this is correct, that you have somehow corrected your status, your political status with the federal government and the state and local municipalities, and you do not have to pay taxes. You are someone that is exempt from all taxation, exempt from all code or statutes of the law. And this is what you want to get by doing a specific process with your DS-11 passport application. Despite the rules that are hidden, or not hidden, but in plain sight, we just don't read them in the acts or conditions section of the application. So what we need to do is go to Title 8, look into the Nationality and Immigration Act, and figure out what these terms mean. Does U.S. national have a difference between U.S. citizen, or are they one and the same? And here at the 0% organization, this is what we focus on as a key factor, so that way we know what the difference is to have an idea what goal we need to obtain in order to be successful in removing that 14th Amendment clause that has been lingering over us. I know a lot of you want to deal with discharge, as one of our recent students, Miss Tanya, has done. And she utilized the power behind her foreign express trust. But not only that, she had to do a specific process within her trustee minutes, a specific declaration, and that declaration has to be held in a certain court. We call that a naturalization court. So we'll get into that. Let's first start off with the rules that lead us to doing a specific declaration. That rule is a public law. The public law is 94-241, and you would find it well to scroll down to Article 3. It's dealing with citizenship and nationality. It starts here in section 301. Let's read. It says, the following persons and their children under the age of 18 years or the effective date of this section, who are not citizens of the United States or who are not nationals of the United States. Let's stop right here. Let's go into Title 8, and then we'll come back. And we need to look at the definitions for a U.S. national and a U.S. citizen. So scroll down all the way to section, I believe it's 23, 24, 25. Yes, it is 22. It says the term national of the United States means a citizen of the United States. Do you see that? A national of the United States means a citizen of the United States. They're one and the same. So why are they saying this here? Why use two different terms that mean the very same thing? Here's why. It says, who are not citizens or nationals of the United States under any other provision of law, and who, on that date, do not owe allegiance to any foreign state. To who? To any foreign state. Keep that phrase, foreign state, in your mind. I want you to make believe and highlight that yellow. Now let's go back. If we go above to section 21, it says the term national. This is not talking about a national of the United States. This is just national. What does that mean? A person owing a permanent allegiance to a state. What's missing here? The word foreign is not here. It just says allegiance to a state. If you go back, what does it say? Do not owe allegiance to any foreign state. Do you see that difference in wordplay? Now let's go down. If you do not owe allegiance to any foreign state, you are declared to be citizens of the United States, except as otherwise provided in section 302. So why say foreign state here, and why say just permanent allegiance to a state? Right here, this word state is synonymous with the word country. Before all of the 50 states within North America became the state of such and such, the state of California, the state of Nevada, the state of Wyoming, they were known as the territory of Wyoming, all of them. They are their own respective countries. So therefore, because they were under what's called a union, they are not considered foreign to each other. However, they are foreign to the District of Columbia. Okay? So when you see this, the key thing to remember is a U.S. national is the very same thing as a U.S. citizen. Now, except as otherwise provided in section 302. Let's go down to 302. The difference here, when it comes to this process, which you do with your passport, I mentioned the acts and conditions section of the passport application. It has you provide what's called an explanatory statement in order to do your passport application correctly. Inside of that explanatory statement, you are to make a declaration of who you are. If you do not, they will automatically presume you to be a U.S. national or a U.S. citizen, which is what? A U.S. citizen. So therefore, you are assumed to be theirs, their chattel, their title. You owe franchise dues, you owe impositions, you owe marks of attention, you owe fines, you owe all of that because you use their ens legis, you use their juristic person that is not in trust. So you have to make a specific declaration, and there's a way to do it. Now, going back, section 302 says, any person who becomes a citizen of the United States solely by virtue of the provisions of section 301, they may, within 6 months after the effective date of that section, that means the date of this document. Okay, if you were naturalized from another country into the United States, surely you've done it. Let's say it's most recent. This is after the year 1974. Okay. Now you can do this process, what they're saying to do in section 302. Or within 6 months after reaching the age of 18 years, whichever date is later. So now they're talking about the person that was born here and they have a US birth certificate. And mind you, nowhere on your birth certificate does it say the United States. It only says the country that you were born in, which is New York, Delaware, Nevada, California, Nebraska, right? You will never see the word United States on there, not even if you were born in the District of Columbia. So if you were born outside of the United States or within the United States, this process works for you. Whichever date is later, become a national, but not a citizen of the United States. By what? By making a declaration under oath before any court established by the Constitution. Those that hold green cards and eventually are looking to become a U.S. citizen, do they have you in a court? No, they do not. Not a court that is established by the Constitution. They make you raise your right hand, say the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States, and that is not making a declaration as a national, but not a U.S. citizen. There's only one way to do this. You need to do this before a court that is established by the Constitution. And a declaration, what is that? You are declaring something. That's something that has to be written down and sealed or stamped by a clerk of the court who is established by the Constitution. And what does that declaration have to say? It says the declaration under oath means it's notarized before any court established by the Constitution or laws of the United States or any court of record. This is including the counties. The county recorder clerk can do this. You'll see why in Title 8 in just a second. Or in the Commonwealth in the form as follows. I, such and such, Tarzan, Jane Doe, being duly sworn, hereby declare my intention to be a national, but not a citizen of the United States. This is in parentheses. You can either say this in front of them, but it's best to have it written down. Why? So that it can be recorded in any court of record. This is completely different than what the people are teaching you to do or what they're telling you to do on the internet, TikTok, Instagram, and all of those. Follow the rules of the court, and you will have your remedy in many ways by extinguishing the presumption of being a 14th Amendment citizen. You must have it written down and notarized. I, and then your full name. But what I would suggest, let's say your name is John Doe Smith. Your only given name by your parents would be John. Doe Smith is given to you from the generations beyond or before your parents. That's a surname. It's a Christian surname. That wasn't given to you, that was passed on to you. And that is what the main corporation, when I say corporation, I mean the United States Corporation Company, that is what they utilize to put you under their generational franchise, disenfranchisement. So the only name that you were given is John or Jane. So what you want to say is, I, John, doing business as John Doe Smith, being duly sworn, hereby declare my intention to be a national but not a citizen of the United States. That is what you wanted to say. Now, let's go back to Title 8. We talked about a court of record. What this is talking about is doing a process within a naturalization court. In point 23, it says the term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Okay? So if we go up to the very top here, here we go. I mentioned the recorder clerk. Number 7 says the term clerk of court means a clerk of a naturalization court. So when you go down to your county's office and you're recording your deeds to your house and your property, there is a clerk of the court. There is a recorder clerk who puts a seal or a stamp and acknowledges your documents into a book number and a page number. Amongst the thousands and thousands of documentations, that's with the clerk. That person, that position is operating within a naturalization court. This is where people used to go before the USCIS came about. They would go down to the county recorder's office or to the courthouse. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what this means? If you are having trouble doing such a process down at the recorder's office, let's just say, for example, you were pulled over by the police department. You got a citation, they gave you a summons, and now you need to go to court to fight that summons and get it dismissed before it becomes a record on your driver's license. There may be an opportunity for you to put in what's called an affidavit of denial to deny those arguments by the officer, maybe even a writ for discovery, asking him to give you specific information, maybe even an injunction against the sheriff's department for doing what's called irreparable injury. But guess what? All of those documents, once you submit them, who gets to stamp it before the judge can see it? That is the clerk of court. What if you were to sneak in your declaration of who you are, just to let the courts know who they're dealing with before you make any statements or questions? It gets stamped. It gets recorded in the court. Before who? Any court of record that is established by the Constitution. That means you've already done the process of status or political status correction. So hallelujah if you get a ticket. If you don't have a ticket and you need to make a lawsuit against the county or any public officer, for that means under 241 or 242 as a suit, make your declaration known. And you've done it. Get a certified copy of it. Now, here's why you want to get a certified copy of it. If you were to go to Google and type in certificate of nationality, let's see. It's called Certificate of Non-Citizen Nationality on travel.state.gov. I've talked about this within our senior course. This was just brought back to my attention. Thank you, John. But I want to share this as a last thing before we go. Here's why you want to get a certificate. As you read throughout what this is from the Department of State, they're going to tell you some really unique information. I'm going to read from here. In addition to Section 308 of the Immigration Nationality Act, Section 302 of the Public Law 94-241 provides for certain inhabitants of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands who became United States citizens by virtue of Article 3 of the Covenant. Now, when they say the covenant, that means a trust indenture. The trust indenture is telling you what you can do. And guess what? The United States cannot interfere with the obligations of a contract. A trust indenture and a covenant are one and the same, and they are under contract law. So if you use this section of the trust of the covenant to make your declaration, it cannot be revoked. It's done. To opt for non-citizen national status. That is what you want, non-citizen national status. And they're telling you to see that rule that we just read. Let's continue. As the department has received few requests, there is no justification for the creation of a non-citizen national certificate. Designing a separate document that includes anti-fraud mechanisms was seen as an inefficient expenditure of resources. Therefore, the department determined that those who would be eligible to apply for such a certificate may instead apply for a United States passport that would delineate and certify their status as a national but not a citizen of the United States. They're telling you that they are not going to give you a document that looks different from the entire world. They're not going to give you a document that shows a separation between U.S. nationals and U.S. citizens. Even though you have done the process correctly with making your declaration before a court, in a naturalization court, before the clerk of court, and all of that, with explanatory statements, they're still going to give you a passport that looks just like it would for a U.S. citizen or a U.S. national. So what do? What is your exact proof? Because the Department of State is not going to give it to you. You can try. I've tried. My family has tried. I only know one person out of all the years of study who has been able to get a certificate of non-citizen nationality. I only know one of all the applications, because once you submit your passport, you get a passport locator number. That locator number is going to let the department know how to find your application and all of the documents you've added with it. What they would do is have the seal of the Secretary of State, the head honcho, and he would seal each and every page, and that would become your certificate of non-citizen nationality. But they're not going to give it to you. Not today, not in 2023. What's the option? Like I said, if you were battling a court case, if you were going to sue someone and you wanted to put on the record who you are, all you do is get a certified copy of what you filed with that court, and there you have it. That's your proof by a clerk of the court within a naturalization court. That is how you do it. So I just wanted to share this because this is going around. There's even websites that are being populated by the U.S. Department of State, and you'll see certain clauses where it says you're going to get a passport that says you are a United States national. People, a U.S. national is one in the same with a U.S. citizen. Do not let them fool you with those mind tricks. You can't get any clearer than this right here. The term national of the United States means a citizen of the United States. All right. So if you'd like to learn how to do this process, you guys know, those of you that are already members, you have the information that is detailed within the senior course to do it exactly as possible. I will be showing how to do your name change with this information to get the actual decree. So that way you can do a process for obtaining your final passport. The final passport with a name that is not connected to the birth certificate nor the social security number. This is what's going to help a lot of people who are dealing with back taxes and they can't get their passport. It's going to be very, very informative. We will be showing that. But if you'd like to start this process, please go to patreon.com/the 0%. Or if you have any questions pertaining to how the site works, how the tier selection works, go ahead and give us a call at 888-899-2262. And those of you that are already members, if you have any questions, please see the thread within Patreon, how to book a consultation. You'll see several links there for you to choose. Click on them, find the best date available for yourself, and one of our representatives will help you with the course that you are already enrolled in. Other than that, that will be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.